Hail Varsity Radio, every weekday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. Coming up on Thursday's show, from counterread.com, Brandon Vogel stops by, former Colorado head football coach Gary Barnett, and we'll have Burke's Best Bets with Vegas insider Danny Burke. Hail Varsity Radio is the best sports talk radio show around. Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbal have you covered every weekday, 4 to 6 p.m. with Hail Varsity Radio.
WTL.
It's time!
WTL.
I think we got a show. Oh yeah, we got a show.
WTL.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klesson, joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
He is back, folks, and what a week was that. I mean,
Yeah.
And we got to do a little reflection here.
Got to.
UFC 300
Yes.
had so much build around it, and everyone, you start hearing rumblings like they are building this so big, and
massive.
$299 was so awesome just
It
a
was.
month ago, and you're thinking, oh, how can you do better than that?
You up that?
How can you up that? Not only did UFC 300 deliver, I think you had some of the best fights, some of the best knockouts in UFC history, and that is saying a lot.
It is.
Thinking that you're 300.
That's your 300th card, and then, they pull something off like this. Yeah, I think there was 14 current and past champions on the cards, all the way from the prelims all the way to the last fight. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, Andy, and there was a lot of money to be made as well, so it was a good night.
And shout out to Lou Vinicaro for hopping back on with us.
Lou.
Gambling Lou, gamblou.com for folks if you haven't found him yet. But he was spot on with just about each and every single one of his assessments. He talked about Bobby Green, Jim Miller. Bobby Green, the athleticism. I'm looking at 186 significant strikes to Miller's 57. It was a great fight. It was a bloody fight.
Good
Great
scrap.
way. The way to start the night off.
Jim Miller fashion. He's just out there.
Oh man, bloody.
Bobby Green is a lot younger and a lot more athletic than Jim Miller, so it was a lot of fun. But it happened.
Great way to start the night, and then we just moved on up the card. And let's get right to it. Okay, we can say Bo Nickel did what he does, dominated. Doubt. I mean, that wasn't even
minus
worth talking
2,100. No value.
Whaley did her thing,
no doubt.
Co-main event there. But I think one of the fights that really had everyone talking, obviously, was the BMF, Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje. And I am wearing, for folks on YouTube, in tribute to the Hawaiian himself, a Hawaiian
the
shirt.
Blessed man.
I'm usually a little more buttoned up than this. But I feel blessed. And what do you say? Blessed man forever.
Blessed man forever. That's his new name.
That's BMF now.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. That has to go down as one of the fights of the year, if not the entire history of UFC. I don't know if I've ever seen a fight go 4 rounds, 4 minutes and 59 seconds, but that was the first one that I've ever seen. Knockout right at the end. It was awesome. Trading shots. Max pointed to the ground and said, let's go, me and you right now.
Center of the octagon.
Let's finish this.
Now.
Knocked him out. It was so awesome. Yeah, a little plus money on Max as well. He's a plus 150 going into that matchup, and they didn't disappoint. That was definitely the BMF title right there.
And Max, as you mentioned earlier, he was piecing him up, getting the better of Justin, and so both fighters had a little bit to lose there, and when they said, let's square it up, and for folks that haven't seen it, get on YouTube.
It's the best clip ever.
Get on Twitter. Just watch the last 10 seconds of that bout.
Yeah.
And Holloway actually points to the center of the ring. Let's finish this.
Let's do it.
And they just started trading blows. Yeah. And with 1 second left in a 5-minute fifth round, it came to an end. And then just as Lou Vinicaro, another shout out to Lou.
Yeah.
Just as he predicted,
Alex Pereira.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that is a bad man, scary man. When he comes out there and just yells at his opponent, it's scary. It's something that a grown man will faint in front of. So, no, it's a lot of fun. A couple hits and misses I had over the weekend, Andy, for that. I had Charles Oliveira to win that fight. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he didn't. Split decision. Yeah. He was very close to getting the submission at the end. That's what I had a bet on. He was plus money, and he's the number one contender. So I took his, a little leap of faith faith on him. It was a very good fight.
Yep.
But like you said, this is stacked up. But I did hit my 3-team parlay.
Parlay pounder, folks.
Exactly. With Aljamain Sterling winning, past champion Yuri Prohaska, past champion, and then ending it with Alex Pereira. That was a lot of fun. So, yeah, won all my money on that this weekend.
Yep, and then UFC's, they're buckling it back up, not this weekend, but next weekend. They're going to have another fight card coming your way, and we may have to talk about that.
We might have to talk about it, but everybody's buzzing about UFC 303, June 29th, McGregor, Chandler.
Yeah.
It's going to be freaking awesome. International Fight Week in Las Vegas. It's going to be sick.
I saw everything started to trend. McGregor was trending. Chandler, I'm like, is this for real? Is this really going to happen? Real. Then I saw Dana White was trending, and he was saying, I'm like, did he really say it, though?
Yes, he did.
He did.
Yep.
It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge.
Out in Las Vegas, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Can't wait for that.
And there was another event that was gathered even more eyeballs, and that was the Masters. I think, I talked a little bit about it. Scotty Scheffler was your favorite going in, and boy, did he deliver. Yeah. Got out to that lead when you thought, oh boy, here it goes. Here comes a run from some other guys.
Yeah.
Scotty was able to really take control of his short game, get that distance, and then just put the pedal to the metal and kind of coast to that victory.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Just the rest of the field just couldn't keep up with him.
Yeah.
He's just stayed even keel. This is how I do it.
Yep.
Don't get too up, don't get too low. It's Scotty Scheffler's out of this world right now. Like, I just think Prime Tiger, if he's within a couple shots, there's no way that anybody's going to stick with him. Yeah. Obviously, we're talking about Bryson DeChambeau, hot start, sticking up with him and all that kind of stuff. But everybody kind of figured that he was going to start adding strokes as the weekend. -2, which is definitely the best major that he's ever played in. Yep. So that was a lot of fun. My boy, Max Homa, that's who I had picked to win it. He was right there. Kind of, caught a little bit of a couple strokes on Sunday that didn't help him out a lot, but -4, very good at showing for Max. Finished third, so that is very good for Max.
A lot of money was poured in on Tiger Woods,
no doubt, to make the cut.
To make the cut, that was the big one, and he did. And
the biggest bet of the weekend was that.
And then the wheels came off.
Yes.
Like what everyone, I think most people kind of predicted that. They weren't thinking Tiger was going to win, but he could hold it together long enough. I talked to a buddy who ran back home, and I'm like, I can't believe all this money going on Tiger Woods. I bet him.
I bet it.
You go, really? He goes, yeah. And but
it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out great. And so I'm like, well, congratulations. Okay. When I hear people are betting on Tiger Woods, I just kind of get that. Oh, you think the Huskers are going to cover?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
It's just like any one of your sports stars, It's me betting on LeBron. It's me, betting on the Twins. It's something that is near and dear to everybody's heart. Nobody would watch golf if it wasn't for Tiger Woods. He is one of the biggest reasons that the Masters is the way it is. So he's just a phenomenon, and that's the reason that we all have to watch it.
Yep, and it was a lot of fun. And then early on, people were bickering about the cameras being on him and his guys the whole time. It's like, but that's what you want to see. That's why
people are watching.
Yeah, that's why you're tuned in.
That's why you're tuned in.
And then you got your dose of Sunday of no Tiger Woods. Yep. You were just fine.
You were just fine. We followed Scotty and Max and Rory the entire time. So it was a lot of fun. I did hit a parlay on Sunday, Andy.
Let's hear it.
Like we said, we knew Bryson DeChambeau probably going to pick up a few strokes. I had him over 71.5 strokes, and I also paired that with Rory. I thought he was going to fall apart a little bit on Sunday. He was over 70.5 strokes. I picked that, and then I had Scotty to win the Masters, obviously, put all those together. Nice little parlay on Sunday to hit that.
Hey, that's why he's a parlay pounder, folks. And that's why you got to follow. It doesn't matter. UFC, professional golf, some of those live guys.
God, I can't believe it.
Just making money, then they come over here and then they make more money.
Making more money on the Masters. Yeah.
Well, no rest for the wicked.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the RBC Heritage?
Let's do it. I can't wait.
Okay. Well, I just want to run over a little history here. Yeah. Sleepers have been the deal. And it makes a lot of sense because I think all the guys that had a big run, especially Scotty, I mean, as soon as you win the Masters, you're shipped here, you're shipped there. You got all these different engagements you're expected to go to, interviews, all these different things. Let me read the last three guys here. Matt Fitzpatrick won it last year.
Yep.
His opening odds was plus 2,800. Jordan Spieth won it the year before, 2022. His opening odds was even worse, plus 4,000.
Boom.
2021, Stuart Sink.
Yep.
Plus 500.
Yeah.
12,500.
Nice.
There you have it. Then Webb Simpson, remember that guy?
Yep.
Back in 2020, plus 3,000. So the long shots are the ones that really make some hay here, and it makes sense because all the top names put so much time, effort into the Masters, and especially if they put together a decent run.
Exactly.
That really wears on a guy. I see Scotty he's the leader once again, plus 400, plus 450.
Deserves to be.
But man, I really got to look twice at that. He's hot right now.
Yep.
I get that, but I'm just thinking of the hangover effect here.
Yeah.
And I'm also just looking at the history of this course and how it's played out the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, for sure. It's really tough being, like you said, the tournament right after the Masters.
Yeah.
Like you said, Scotty Scheffler at plus 400, 450. Xander Schauffele right behind him at plus 1,300.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Cantley, 1,700. And then Tommy Fleetwood, Rory, all the guys behind that. What I really am looking at, Andy, with some value picks, like you just said, my best bet of the weekend is Cameron Young to win this. Young has yet to pick up a win on PGA Tour, but he has been in contention so many times.
Yeah.
I believe this is the weekend that he gets over the hump. I believe a lot of people are overlooking the fact that he didn't have the best showing in the Masters, but he's right there, plus 3,000, plus 2,200, right in that range right now. He's one of my favorite best bets of the weekend.
He was just saving it for the RBC Heritage.
Of course.
I mean, he's like,
of course.
Georgia, this place again?
Yeah.
I don't know. He was just looking ahead.
He's looking ahead, Andy. Another one that's a little bit down the card as well, Wyndham Clark at plus 3,500 on DraftKings right now.
He's right there.
Clark missed the cut at the Masters last week, which has led to very enticing price point. So if he made the cut and has a decent weekend, his odds would roughly probably be in the plus 1,500 to plus 2,000 range. So I think this is a very good value bet on Wyndham Clark.
I'm going to, everything you just said right there, rewind it, and I'm going to say the same thing with Jordan Spieth.
Let's go! Jordan!
He's at plus 3,500. He had some good strokes, some good moments at the Masters, but he didn't play as good as what he probably should have.
Probably
needed to, right?
Yeah.
And he's not going to have that Masters hangover like these other guys at the top.
For sure.
Another guy, you already mentioned him, that I really like going into this, Rory. I think Rory
gonna battle back a little bit.
That's sticking with him, and he wasn't quite in contention like he wanted to be down the stretch.
No
right?
doubt.
So he didn't have that mind drain, just weighing on him like some of these other guys.
Now he's still pissed, obviously.
Of course.
In true Rory fashion. And at plus 2,000 for this, that is as good a value you're going to get on Rory this season. So I like that as well.
I like Rory, plus 2,000. Jordan Spieth about plus 4,000. And I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Jordan was plus 4,000 last time he won this. Just a couple of years ago in 2022.
Love it.
You heard the horn. That means we're up against it, but let's take a quick minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. World class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Ian D. Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
Oh, parlay pounder.
You got it. We're back.
Good to be back. You had a little time off there last weekend.
It was nice.
But we found a couple you guys to step up. So.
I didn't stop betting. I was still betting. I just didn't do the show.
Oh, no. We saw your tweets. You're still cashing in on those parlays.
No doubt.
And now we have to talk about the NBA playoffs. That means the playoffs have started in the NBA. The season's only going to last for 5 more months.
Yeah, only a year left in the season. It's crazy.
It is pretty wild how they kind of drag it out.
Yep.
But no, the playoffs are here, and most of the games have been set. So let's start with a 5 or 6 matchup here. The Orlando Magic taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers, high noon on ESPN. And this is your first game on ESPN here. Let's see here. I wanted to look at the overall
the series
odds. Series
the series
odds.
is the Orlando Magic are plus 165 in the series. Cleveland Cavaliers are minus 195 to win that series.
Yeah, and I mean, I was looking at to win the actual
the championship,
whole thing, and yeah, it's
whoa,
Cavaliers at a plus 4,200.
Yeah,
Orlando's actually at worse at a plus 1,600. So that tells you a little bit right there.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts?
Well, my initial thoughts are just on the series odds, Andy. I think a lot of people are overlooking this Orlando Magic team. I really like this team in this series. Mostly because I don't believe that Donovan Mitchell has been playing up to his All-NBA style this year. Mm-hmm. I think he's, just a little bit hampered by the injury that he had earlier this year. Yeah. He had been playing the last week of the season, but I really believe the Magic are going to have their number here. I'm taking the Magic in 6 games this series. So I like the Orlando plus 155, plus 160 in the series. For one of my best bets for this NBA opening round.
Well, they're a very young team, right?
Yeah.
Paolo Banchero leading the team in scoring at 23 points per game, also leads the team in assists. So the big fella, the power forward, is getting it done. And if they can get a little bit healthy, which it sounds like they are getting healthy again, you got to think these young guns could maybe put together a run.
Yeah, for sure. And I love the Jalen Suggs versus Donovan Mitchell matchup there. I believe Suggs has it in him to slow him down. And, I mean, there's a very large chance, Andy, that Mitchell pops off for 40 in game 1 and 45 in game 2. And while Orlando, struggles to crack 90 points, and I end up looking foolish here. But I think the combination of the rickety Cleveland's offense has looked in 2 straight months in how snare tight drum, Orlando's defense has been over the year. I really think this is a very good spot for Orlando to get that first playoff series win for Pablo and those young players.
Yeah, and I don't think it would be that big of a shocker. It's just those overall championship odds makes you think, okay, there's a lot more faith in Cleveland.
It's just that youth typically isn't served in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's what Orlando is. Big, tough teams with nothing to lose. They are tough sometimes, and I believe that's what Orlando is.
All right, well, let's move on to the next matchup. Just right after that one, that was a noon tip-off, a 2:30 tip-off. Phoenix Suns taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Another 2 teams in the middle of the pack here squaring off. It's going to be all NBA all day Saturday on ESPN.
Yeah, it is, Andy. And I believe the Minnesota Timberwolves are the higher seed here. And they're
5-6, they're the 5.
And they're plus 110 to win this series. Phoenix is a minus 130. Obviously, you got the big names on Phoenix: Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. But you got to look at the Timberwolves and what they've been able to do this year, putting up a very, very good year. And Anthony Edwards looks like he's on the brink of stardom, if not already there.
Yeah, the shooting guard's averaging 26 points per game. I just think the Timberwolves, I feel like the last 3 or 4 years, everyone's like, okay, this is the year. They're going to pop off. This is the year.
No doubt.
And then you throw Rudy Gobert in there. I don't know. It's tough to get a positive headline with that guy.
With Rudy,
with Rudy. But hey, he's leading the team with 13 boards.
Yeah.
Purge is doing his thing. Mike Conley's doing his thing. Fantastic point guard.
Yeah.
It's going to take quite the effort here to knock out the Suns.
Towns and Edwards to win this. I really do. I think I just got to go with the Suns here. I got to go with those all-star players.
Yep.
Suns in 6, I believe. I've loved the Wolves all season, like we just said.
6, huh?
I hate this matchup for them, Andy. The exact shots that Minnesota forces are the ones that Phoenix feasts on. As much as I trust Ant, and as sure as I am, in the Wolves, kind of defensively, the Suns' top guys are going to get theirs, and they're going to stay healthy through this series at least. That gives Phoenix more pathways to the points than Minnesota, and a path to round 2. I just think that those all-stars, those guys that have been there, especially KD, is going to get them to the second round.
Yeah, and we're 3/4 of the way through this segment. We haven't even, and we're talking NBA, and we haven't even said load management yet.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a team that takes load management more serious than the Phoenix Suns. This is what it's all been pointing towards. This is what it's geared towards. I think KD is, like always, he's going to hit another gear. And once again, not that the Wolves are young, but across the board, they're probably a little younger than the Suns.
Well, they just don't have the playoff experience. That's the whole thing.
Right.
When
Yeah,
you're
there
looking
you
at
go.
young
I like
versus
that.
old,
Yep.
that's the way I look at it. Is even if you're young, have you been in the playoffs and have you won in the playoffs? Not that the Phoenix Suns have won a whole bunch, but remember they did make a run to the conference finals. So I believe, or in the NBA finals as well. So I believe that they have a lot more experience and they have the trump card with KD.
So your best bet is Suns in 6?
Suns in 6.
Do you like any player props? Maybe for game one here. Sometimes KD will, you think it's an outlandish number for total points, but it's really not.
It isn't, Andy. And if you can get KD around the 25-point mark, which, usually you can. I see that he's at over 23.5 on game one. Okay. I would probably think that's a very good bet, over 23.5 points for KD. What I really like in this game is Anthony Edwards over 25.5.
There we go.
This young kid is going to do everything he can to make this a winner for Minnesota. I believe he has much over 30 points in this game. Over 25.5, I think, is a layup. Give me that one.
All righty, well, let's move on to the nightcap over there on ESPN. That's the Philadelphia 76ers, the 7 seed, taking on the Knicks in New York. Good to see New York doing good in basketball again. That's going to be a game on ESPN as well. And this is where you start to see some odds start to creep up a little bit.
Yeah.
Overall, the 76ers are at a plus 1,600, and the Knicks are down there at a plus 3,000, plus 3,300, wherever you're looking.
Yeah, Andy, and this is a crazy game just because Philadelphia just got in on the play-in tournament.
Yep.
On Wednesday night, and
they know they can beat New York,
and they know that they can beat New York. Joel Embiid is back. He is healthy. Had a hell of a game in the play-in tournament. I just believe he's, again, just like we were talking about KD in that series earlier. I believe he's the ultimate trump card in this series.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid is healthy. 76ers win the series.
Jalen Brunson's had a fabulous season.
No doubt.
He's averaging about 30 points per game. He wasn't hurt too often. He's
been the man. He's been the absolute man.
There's been plenty of things to like about New York. And this entire season, Devin Chaco, the old college.
DiVincenzo. He can stroke it from 3.
And he could when he was playing in Philadelphia for the Wildcats, right? Right, for Villanova. Now he's on the other side of that, and I think he's going to... it's tough. It's really tough to go against a team like the Sixers in the first round in the NBA playoffs. But anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
But
Andy,
I don't
here.
know.
But I love the Philadelphia that they're plus 2.5 points in game one. I believe that is a very good bet. Plus 115 money line. It's in New York. Yes, I get it. But I do believe when you boil down to it, I believe the 76ers have the best 2 players on the floor. Yeah. Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey. This young kid can score the basketball. I love him. Putting in 26 points a game. This is going to be. This could end up being a series, but I think I see Philadelphia kind of running away with this one just because they don't have anybody to stop the big man in the middle with Julius Randle on the shelf.
Yeah, give me a break. Hartstein or whatever. No,
it ain't going to happen.
Nope. Do you think this will be a gentleman's sweep in 5, or do you like it in 4?
No, I would say and I'm probably getting ahead of myself. The Knicks have put together a very good season. I just believe I know who the better team is, so I know that what's going to happen. I would say, to just be safe, the 76ers in 6 games. Okay. I don't believe it's going to be, them taking over, but you just saw it on Wednesday night with Philadelphia. They just went up against a very good Miami Heat team, beat them by 1 at the end of the game. I believe that's what's going to be able to happen when you have that trump card, that best player card, and Joel Embiid.
Not only is the best player, he's also the tallest player, the thickest player. He's just huge.
He's the most dominant player.
He's a freaking. He wouldn't even fit in the studio.
He would not.
He could not even fit in the studio that we're at right now.
Yes, that would be very fun to see.
We'll take him on as a guest.
No doubt.
Hey, Embiid, come on on.
No
come
doubt.
on over. We don't want to get you in trouble, though.
No.
NBA is a little bit more relaxed on gambling.
No doubt.
But we still don't want to get you in trouble.
No doubt. But yeah, best bet. Philadelphia Sixers in game 1, plus 115 money line. I believe that they will win game 1 and put everybody on notice.
On the road, I like that.
Let's do it.
Money. All right, let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. And you know what's back? The Ale Storm.
Ale Storm.
Crisp, clean, lighter beer. That's the official beer of Nebraska's AAA baseball team, the Storm Chasers. Get it? The Ailstorm? Storm Chasers? They know,
gotta love it.
That marketing department over there for Nebraska.
They know what they're doing.
My God. World class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. You know what that stands for. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
the parlay pounder.
Yes, sir. We're back.
You have been pounding the parlays. I've been following you on Twitter, as everyone needs to do. What is that? Jabron underscore?
I believe it's just Jabron13.
Jabron 13.
Yep.
Jabron.
But just follow WTL and you'll find me for sure.
The retweets are out there with all your parlay plays and how you're cashing them in.
Yeah, no doubt.
And now we're talking about, one of your soft spots here.
Yeah.
The NBA playoffs are upon us, so there's only a half a year left of the NBA season. And your Los Angeles Lakers, you're wearing the LeBron jersey right here for the folks watching on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
And they're pretty proud of themselves right now, taking care of playing the bunny bracket game over the Pelicans down there in New Orleans. And I don't know. I was left thinking you wanted to see more if you're an LA fan.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you did. It was in New Orleans, so it was a road game and all that. But yeah, Zion freaking piled on for it. Had 40 points. Left with an injury. Pure, Zion's style with 3 minutes left to go. Still only beat him by 4 or 5 points. Yeah, Lakers were up on him by 20 earlier in the game. So you saw what the Lakers can do. You've seen it all year long. This is one of those teams that can turn it on, can turn it off, have that little bit of championship DNA. So this is a fun matchup. Definitely not the matchup the Lakers wanted in the first round, though.
And that's because since you win the bunny bracket, well, congratulations. You get to take on the defending champs and number 2 overall seed, the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
And the first game is going to be 7:30 Saturday night on ABC.
Yeah.
Denver is a 7.5-point favorite for that game alone. Over-under sitting at 223.5 points. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see that over.
No doubt.
I would not be surprised there. LA's feeling pretty good about themselves. You talk about the pedigree. Yes, they won that goofy tournament back in year 1.
The bubble.
The bubble tournament there. But Denver's the returning champs of the 2 seed, and they're the minus 250 favorite to win this series overall.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Andy. The Lakers were swept last season in the Western Conference Finals by the Nuggets.
Yep.
All 4 games away in clutch moments. The story remained consistent during the regular season when Denver won all 3 games against the Lakers. This year, Denver has won 8 straight games against the Lakers, including the postseason. If the Lakers want a chance in this first-round series, it's going to come down to Anthony Davis, I believe, Andy, who has had a combined minus 39 plus-minus against the Nuggets this season.
Yikes. Yeah, Denver just has his number, and I mean, you talk about Jokic and what's left to be said about the guy.
You can't say anything else.
Yeah,
he's going to win the MVP this year again.
Yeah, his defense is just too good. Anthony Davis doesn't like how physical he gets with them.
Yep.
So then he'll back out. He'll settle for jump shots, and then that plays right into Denver's hands.
Yeah.
I think that's the way this series is going to go. I think it will be more of a gentleman's sweep, not just a full-out sweep, though, because LA is looking better.
Yeah.
They did make the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Andy. The one thing I have to say about Anthony Davis, I do believe he has a little bit of fire in his system, just as the way that the Nuggets kind of carried themselves after that sweep and after they won all 3 games this year. Davis says that he and James took the Nuggets trash talk after the series personally.
Oh, personal.
And
what is this, the UFC?
Yeah, I guess. And he said him and Braun had some, conversation, and then they can't wait for this matchup. So I do believe that the Lakers will get 1 or 2 in this series. I I do want to back the Lakers on that plus 7.5 in game one. I do believe they're going to come out swinging in game one. So give me Lakers plus 7.5 game one.
And that's right on par with Denver, too. They're okay with you covering as long as they get the W.
No doubt.
And this always blows my mind. I just pulled up some team stats here for Denver. Jokic, the Joker, leads the team in scoring, obviously, with 26 points per game. Also leads in rebounds, 12.5 per game. Leads in assists, 9 a game. Averaging a triple-double here. He also leads the team in 1.5 steals per game. So, having another one of those type of seasons where, you better give him the MVP this time.
Yeah, right.
You better give him the MVP.
He kind of sounds like the guy on the other side of the ball, LeBron James, except that guy's 39, averaging 26 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds at age of 39. So, no, all props
You
to
can't
Joker.
even joke around saying he's a 40-year-old because he actually is.
He's
39.
Is.
Wow.
No, it's crazy. I do believe the Lakers have a little bit of fight in them. I can see this going late in the series. But, no, you got to give it up to Joker. Another MVP season.
Yeah.
Denver's probably going to win this series, but you might see me sprinkle a little bit on that plus 310. Go Lakers, go LeBron.
That's why folks got to follow you on TikTok,
yeah,
right?
Let's do it.
That's why they got to do that. Just real quick here, your Nuggets just on NBA championship, the championship.
Yeah.
They're at plus 300. They're right there behind
doubt.
the Celtics. Then add 3,000 plus 3,300 is where the Lakers are at for overall odds. There. So, hey, okay.
Take it.
Hey, all right.
Little money.
Let's move on to the Sunday matchup here.
Let's do this.
This is a 5 versus 4 matchup here. This is a really fun one here.
No doubt.
The Dallas Mavericks, I always kind of watch like the Dallas Mavericks. Mark Cuban, maybe he's not there, maybe he is, whatever, but he's a zany guy, fun guy. The LA Clippers, a lot of buzz. They're the 4 seed, and they're plus 100 right now, and it's in LA.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep. No, the series odds, the Clippers are plus 100, Dallas Mavericks minus 120 in the series, Andy. This is going to be back and forth, Andy. This is going to go, I believe, all 7 games. This is going to be one of the best playoff series in the first round.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of doing a flip here, Andy. I'm going to go with what I think is the best 2 players on the floor right now, and that is how well Luka and Kyrie have been playing down the stretch this year.
Wow, really?
And if this last month, as any indication, this series will not be so close, as Mavericks were the best team over this season's final 6 games. And you can see on the other side, the Clippers kind of fail to flip the switch every now and then, and as long as they're healthy, they can do that. But although Harden-led playoff teams also usually flip that switch off.
They do. They do. I mean, that's Harden's kind of his calling card.
Yeah.
And he's kind of earned it. He's earned it. Let's let him have it here. But when you were saying best 2 players on the court, I thought you were talking about Kawhi Leonard and James Harden.
And James Harden.
Oh yeah, Paul George. I mean, I really like the big 3 for the Clippers.
No doubt.
And if not now, win.
Yeah.
Win.
Exactly.
It has to be now for the LA Clippers. They're at home. They're the 4 seed, and they're the underdogs.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Andy. I just believe the matchup to watch in this is how the Clippers try to stop Luka Doncic. Is it going to be the Kawhi Leonard show, or are they going to try and pawn him off on other stuff to keep Kawhi fresh on the offensive side of the floor? I believe that's going to be the biggest thing here, and then maybe have Kawhi handle him late game situations and stuff like that. But I do believe that Luka, I think he's a freight train right now, and with Kyrie Irving playing as good as he's played, looks like he has his head on his shoulders, look like he's back to being one of the best players in the NBA. I believe these 2 are going to run this series. Give me the Mavericks in 7 games.
I like it going 7. I really like that. And you make a valid point. Kyrie Irving has not been trending on Twitter for over 3 days.
That's what I'm talking about.
So he hasn't said anything that outrageous for Kyrie's standards.
Yeah.
For at least 72 hours. So you got to like that heading into the weekend.
Yeah. And I get where I'm going to get. I get where I'm going to get a little bit of hate on this. Conventional wisdom says the Clippers probably have the 2 best defensive options possible to throw against Luka Doncic.
Yeah, they
with
do.
Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. I just still believe that this guy is such a superstar, such a megastar, that he is going to will this team to beat this Clipper team in round 1.
Hey, there's going to be an upset somewhere. somewhere. And this, I mean, 4 versus 5. I don't know if you can really call it that much of a.
No, I don't think so.
All righty, well, let's talk about the Sunday night cap.
Yeah.
This is another fun one. The Indiana Pacers out of nowhere, right? The 6 seed taking on the 3 seed Milwaukee, the Bucks, and Giannis, and they are your minus 130 favorite, but you gotta like what you're seeing from these youngsters over there in Indiana.
Yeah, and actually the line, Andy, on game 1, Indiana is favored to win by 1.5 points.
Ooh.
Just because nobody knows if Giannis is ready to go.
That is your wild card.
Doc Rivers didn't even give us a update on him on Wednesday. He said, I haven't even asked about him, which is obviously probably not true.
So you don't know what your finals MVP
regular season MVP, champion, don't know how if he's going to play. Obviously, they're slow playing this to, mess with the mind of the Indiana Pacers. But no, like you said, I love the way that this young team playing. Tyrese Halliburton is the best point guard in the NBA right now, Andy.
Yeah.
He really showing out. So,
averaging a double-double, 20 points per game, 11 assists per game.
Exactly.
11 assists per game.
It's freaking awesome, Andy. Yeah. And without Giannis, the matchup to key in on is between those all-star point guards, and that is Damian Lillard and Tyrese Halliburton. And I have to give the leg up to Tyrese right now because Damian has not felt like he's in sync with this Bucks team yet this year. I know that it kind of gets he's still an all-star. He's still an all-star. He can still get points, all this kind of stuff. But if he doesn't have Giannis to fall back on, I don't believe that this is a full series sweep for the Bucks. I believe that the Pacers can squeeze a few out on him.
Yeah, and when you're talking overall odds, I always like to look at that for just kind of a 30,000-foot type of view here. You have the Boston Celtics at a plus 165, the Nuggets at a plus 300. Already talked about that.
Yeah.
Then it really falls off.
No doubt about it.
LA Clippers are next with a plus 1,400. Then the Bucks are right there at another plus 1,500, plus 1,400, depending at where you're looking, and then it really goes down from there. So what I'm getting at is your Bucks are still a top 4, top 5 contender as far as overall odds, and that's just not where the Pacers are at a plus 11,000.
But that is with Giannis in the lineup. So that's what you got to think about.
True.
So before you bet on any of these games, Pacers versus Bucks, make sure you know Giannis's status going into the game. A lot of people have the Pacers winning this series because Giannis is banged up right now. So make sure if you're betting on this, especially if you're betting on the Bucks, make sure Giannis is in the lineup.
Yeah, those lines are going to start to shift, and they're going to start to shift fast.
No doubt about it.
Especially if they keep on keeping all that injury news locked up, because you're figuring it out. It's leaking. People are figuring it out.
No doubt about it. And if Giannis doesn't play, McDermott's going to have a huge series.
Yeah.
Dougie's coming to play.
I love that.
Go Pacers.
Creighton Blue Jays, shout out.
Let's
you
go.
knew we had it for you. You heard the horn. That means we're up against it, but we still got to take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Kless, joined by
Jabron,
the Parlay Pounder.
You got it.
And, we talked some NBA playoffs, right?
Yeah.
We a little UFC, and then we had to talk some PGA Tour.
No doubt.
Do they let the live guys play now?
Not anymore.
Not anymore? They did, but they didn't?
Only major championships.
So
they don't want to play it any more than that. They don't care.
No, they don't. So maybe Rory does have a shot like we talked about.
Rory probably has a shot.
Coming in this weekend. Okay, all right. I like that. I like my bet even better.
Yeah, no Brooks, no Phil, nobody.
Well, we got to talk a little NCAA baseball.
Yeah.
The Huskers and the Creighton Blue Jays are putting together some fantastic seasons here. And June's just right around the corner. The greatest show on dirt is coming back to Nebraska. And we got to talk some odds here.
Yeah.
We got to get that primer going. We love to really dive deep into it. Lou Vinicaro was like, hey, I'll come back.
No doubt.
I love CWS.
baseball.
I'll talk some more. And we're like, okay, we're
awesome.
going to get you back. No surprise here.
Yeah.
3 of the top 4 teams to win it overall, I'm talking championship, hail from the SEC.
No doubt.
Right now, Arkansas plus 500, Texas A&M plus 550, Tennessee's right behind them at a plus 800.
And Kentucky has to be there as well, Andy.
Yes. Yeah, they're plus 2,000.
Yeah, no, you're just looking, and I'm just looking at RPI rankings, Andy, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The top 7 teams are either from the SEC or the ACC.
Yeah.
You got to give a shout out to those ACC school twos with Clemson, Wake Forest, North Carolina, and Florida State. Just really, really good baseball being played on both of those conferences. So, when you're looking at, college baseball futures, that's where you're seeing most of your teams come from.
I kind of like that Kentucky pick right now. I mean, we'll get into the Wildcats here. 14-1 conference record. I love that. We talk about the SEC and how it just matters a little more or whatever. Like, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, or whatever their slogan is this year.
Exactly, Andy.
But Kentucky's at the tippy top right now in the SEC East with a 14-1 overall record in this conference.
Exactly, Andy, and you can still get very good value on Kentucky, anywhere from plus 2,000 to plus 4,000 I've seen across the books. They just entered the top 10 with a sweep over Alabama. I believe they will have one of the best overall RPI rankings thanks to a 9-0 record in Quad 1 games. So I believe that they will eventually shoot up that leaderboard and be one of the top favorites of the entire CWS once it gets closer to that. So that plus 2,000 to plus 4,000 is going to shrink unless you get it in early.
Yeah, and what's going on here is everyone's thinking of the SEC West, and rightfully so. You got Arkansas at the top. Right there behind them is Texas A&M, Mississippi, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Alabama. You just mentioned them, but those are your top 4 or 5 teams out of the SEC West. And then Arkansas and Texas A&M are your overall favorites to take the whole thing down.
No doubt.
Out of the same side. So I can see why Kentucky's getting overlooked a little bit. I just don't think they should be.
I just think it's a very good play on the opposite side, Andy, and it seems like a team that's surging at the right moments. And, like you said, a little bit of a sleeper pick in the SEC. Nobody thinks about Kentucky as a baseball school.
All right, so right behind the SEC, when I'm thinking college baseball, then I think Big East.
Yeah.
Wait. It's not March anymore.
The Big East.
The Big East. Say what you will, but Creighton has slapped together a really nice season here. 27-7 overall. But the Blue Jays are only 3-3 in conference, and this isn't a good conference. Let's call it what it is.
Subpar conference.
Subpar. That's nice.
That's very nice of me saying that, and the only reason I'm saying that is because they have been taking down our Big Red in these midweek games. That has been very fun watching the games.
Great game earlier.
When it gets into clutch time, you just have a feeling that the Big Red's going to give it up, and they have. And they have.
Creighton playing their winning percentage right now is at 794.
Yeah.
You got to love that. They're 12-3 at home, 11-3 on the road, so they can play on the road.
Yes.
They're just having a tough go of it in conference. You mentioned the non-conference. I don't know if it could get much better, knocking off the top team out of the Big Ten.
Yeah, top 25 team
and
in the nation.
Your in-state rival in the Huskers. And could it get any sweeter than a walk-off grand slam?
It does
on
not.
The road?
Better baseball, it can't be played than that in more primetime action.
That was earlier
Andy.
this week.
And beating a team that is number 16 in RPI midweek on the road. That really boosts the record for Creighton. So, props to them, but it saddens me as a big Red baseball believer.
Every once in a while, St. John's will go on a run or make a run, make a splash, whatever.
Yeah.
They'll advance in the tournament.
Xavier. Every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Yeah, Xavier just made it to the show a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So let's give them that. And they have a nice RPI this year.
Yeah.
But right now, Georgetown's at the top of the Georgetown at 8-1. Already have 25 wins notched on the season. Are you any believer in the Bulldogs at all?
No, I don't believe in anybody coming to the Big East at all.
Ouch.
Like I said, I will be rooting for Creighton in a regional if they make it.
Yep.
It's I just don't believe it's a very good baseball conference. Like you said, March is where they shine, and they did. So
they did.
I believe that Creighton is probably the best team as what I've seen. I don't follow Big East baseball a lot, but obviously I've been watching the Creighton baseball team, and with that 27, 28 wins that they have right now, I believe that they should come out of the Big East.
And they challenge themselves too, kind of like the Huskers do with the non-con, and that's really where Creighton's been able to play their best baseball.
No doubt.
Only going 500 thus far in conference. They better get it right.
They better get it right.
In conference down the stretch here. All right, let's move on to the Big Ten.
Let's do it.
We talked a little bit about the Huskers, but Illinois is actually on the top right now with a one-game lead on the Huskers with the 7-2 conference record. They have 20 wins on the season, 20-13 overall. And they're the Fighting Illini are riding a 4-game winning streak. Right behind them, though, is your Huskers.
Big Red.
I think they might have fallen out of the rankings after dropping to Creighton.
Yeah.
They were ranked 23rd in the nation, but it's pretty tough to hold on to that type of a spot if you're going to drop games midweek to unranked teams.
But Nebraska's still going to be in those RPI rankings just because we play such a hard schedule, Andy.
Came out really good early this season.
In the season. We were at 16th in RPI, dropped down to 19th after the Creighton loss. So we're still right there, Andy, and this is a very good Nebraska team. Like you said, 6-3 in conference right now with a couple, matchups coming up here, Andy. Plus 15,000 to win College World Series.
15,000, okay.
Yeah. So if you just put $5 on that right now, Andy, you're winning $755 once the Cornhuskers are raising that trophy in Omaha.
Get on over to Warhorse, right?
Yeah,
just a little $5 little sprinkle.
Yes, sir.
A lot of folks were saying, what happened to Michigan?
Yeah.
They've really fallen off here, and they're 2 games under 500 overall.
Yeah.
However, they're 8-4 in the conference, as are the Purdue Boilermakers. But Purdue already has 24 wins on the season. I think I have a little bit more faith in the Boilermakers, and it's just more of a baseball school, even though as of recent history, Michigan's had a bigger run. They were in the College World Series and made a lot of noise just a season ago.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Andy. The 3 teams that I really like from the Big Ten, obviously the Huskers number 1 on my list, Purdue Boilermakers, like you said, and then my sleeper pick for the Big Ten is the Maryland Terrapins. I do believe that they are one of the best teams in the Big Ten. Just kind of got off to a little bit of a slow start, but I do like the Maryland Terrapins in that 3 spot of the Big Ten Conference.
Old ACC school there in Maryland, and they have had a solid baseball program for many years.
Yeah.
And they are 24-14.
Yeah.
So a lot of those non-conference are probably against old ACC foes. I'd really have to dive into it, but they have the RPI, as you mentioned, and the Terrapins. The old Turtles are riding a 2-game winning streak right now, getting into conference play.
No doubt, and they play really, really well at home, just like the Huskers. They're 11-3 at home, so if they can get people to come into their ballpark, they're usually going to win. So that is a sleeper pick on the Big Ten side of things.
You're such a homer. Creighton Jays, Huskers, and give me the Terrapins.
Yeah. Can I give you one team that I think is really moving up, regardless of conference, all that kind of stuff, College World Series betting?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Oregon Ducks move from unranked to number 18th in the country.
Yep.
In the latest top 25 poll, there's plenty of work to be had for the Ducks, but they're at a plus 10,000 right now. Wow. I believe they are surging, and they have a very good weekend series with the Oregon State Beavers scheduled for April 26th, which is going to be a marquee matchup, Andy, in that conference, obviously, with Oregon State being one of the best teams in college baseball year in, year out. So I really like that plus 10,000 because I believe the Oregon Ducks have a very good chance of making it to the College World Series, and, anybody can get lucky, especially with those odds.
The value's there for the Oregon Ducks. The value is not there for Oregon State. They're top 5. They're plus 1,500. To win it right now, and rightfully so. They're putting together another.
They're one of the best.
Fantastic season, and they're at exactly where they should be. Next year they might not have a conference, so it might be a little tougher.
Might be a little tougher for them next year. Andy, a couple teams that I just want to touch on moving down in the rankings that you should probably steer away from. Fade these guys after winning its first 3 SEC series. Florida was swept on the road by Missouri, and they are just moving down. So I think Florida is kind of out of this. Other teams that you want to stay away from, LSU, NC State, South Carolina. That's kind of tough talking about the Tigers like that, reigning national champs. They are in jeopardy of not even making the postseason this year in that star-studded SEC. Yeah. So make sure you're staying away from those bets as I'm saying them right now.
Yeah, your Florida Gators, they're one game under 500. They're 7-8 in the conference right now, 6th in the East, and they just got swept by the 7th team in the East. Missouri, who's 5-10 in the conference with a .333 winning percentage.
Exactly. In the road to the regionals doesn't get any easier for Florida with series against Tennessee, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky. Going to be very hard for the Gators to make this postseason run.
I know it was on the road, and it's a team, but that's one you got to get. You got to win that series.
Definitely got to win those ones.
Heading into a murderer's row.
And now you're heading into the 3 of the top 5 teams in college baseball.
Well, you heard the horn. That means we're up against it. So that'll be about it for us this week. Be sure to follow us on ESPN Tri-City Radio if you haven't already, and their Facebook page. Twitter, we've gotten a lot of little videos and replaying your flex. Is that what you call them? The flex?
You got to flex on them.
Flex when you hit one of those.
Yeah. Parlays.
Parlays. And if you haven't already, please visit our YouTube channel and subscribe. That's been growing. It's been a lot of fun. The interactions, the posts, the short videos, the long-form videos, all that good stuff. And you got some videos going on over at TikTok.
Yeah, definitely check us out on TikTok at WTL Sports Betting. Got big plays on the weekend. Make sure you tune in before primetime games.
For Joe Braun, the Parlay Pounder, I'm Andy Klassen. Thank you for listening. This has been WTL.
Hail Varsity Radio, every weekday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. Coming up on Thursday's show, from CounterRead.com, Brandon Vogel stops by, former Colorado head football coach Gary Barnett, and we'll have Burke's Best Bets with Vegas insider Danny Burke. Hail Varsity Radio is the best sports talk radio show around. Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbal have you covered every weekday, 4 to 6 p.m. with Hail Varsity Radio.